Jinn is realizing that Zilan is actually a better singer than rapper. Khalifa and Ardan get into a huge fight, and Semir is starting shooting around like crazy. This and a lot more now in the review of the fourth episode of the first season of Skylines on Netflix here at AfterBuzz TV in Los Angeles.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome back to the next review of Skylines on Netflix. We are working about the fourth episode right now, talking a lot about different topics, different relationships, right? But let's start from the very beginning, which was very surprising to me because I saw Zilan starting singing and I was like, whoa. So I was like, okay, she was trying to become a rapper. You know, we all know that. And Jinn was trying really hard to make her sound beautifully, right? But it didn't work out. We all know that, right? We saw that in the last episode. She was working hard, but it didn't work. But now, out of a sudden, she sits in the car and starts singing. And I was like, whoa, she sounds actually really nice as a singer, right? So they should definitely do something. And of course, what is Jinn doing? He's realizing the potential and is taking her back to the studio and is recording a song on what she's singing on, which is really interesting to me because I feel it sounds so much better than the rap part that she did the last episodes, right? So I'm really interested in this relationship even more because I felt in this episode, Zilan, who was very serious all the time, right? Very reserved, very closed off, now out of a sudden opens up a little more and watch out, she was even smiling, guys. She was smiling the first time that I saw Zilan smiling on screen, which is crazy to me. And Jinn also realizes, okay, I think I can trust her a little more now. He becomes a little more confident and is even telling her to take the jacket off. And you know what? She actually does it. She takes her jacket off and is doing kind of like movements to become a little bit more relaxed. And then she starts really singing, right? Which was beautiful. So I'm really hoping that we see a lot more about this relationship because it was very surprising to me. I didn't really see that coming, right? I was thinking it was more like a sub storyline, right? Not like a big storyline. But now I can feel that it becomes a little more than that in the whole show, right? Which is really great to see. But now talking about relationships, moving on to the relationship, which is one of the most important ones, obviously, between Khalifa and Ardan. And you know what? I think this is the twist point here right now for everybody. I mean, I had a feeling this is gonna happen, right? I didn't expect it to be that soon, but Khalifa is starting to not trust his brother anymore, right? I mean, he was always the kind of young brother, right? Ardan came back after 16 years of disappearance. He just comes back. And of course, Khalifa is trying to make him feel comfortable, right? As we saw. He's giving him the basement. He gives him some space to work on his business without even knowing what his business is. And Ardan obviously uses the situation to himself or to his advantage, right? But now I can tell Khalifa is not believing him anymore. And also Ardan, I feel, is realizing that Khalifa is kind of mistrusting him a little bit now. And now Ardan even starts to lie to him, which was very surprising to me because he was always this kind of very open and straightforward guy to me, right? But now he's even lying to his younger brother. And Khalifa, obviously, he's not believing it. What is he doing? He's getting back to the basement at night and he finds the heroin, right? We're talking about the treats, right? That we all saw the last couple of times. He finds it and he immediately knows what's gonna happen, right? He immediately knows what's happening right now. Ardan is obviously not selling any sweatshirts or something like that. He's dealing with drugs again like back in the day. But the interesting part about this information for me specifically is we have a backflash a little bit or flashback talking about the past and the reason why Semir and Khalifa are even or were able to create Skyline Records is because of the drug money coming from Ardan back in the day. So now it makes even more sense to me at least that Khalifa is so much into his brother and is trying to give him chances wherever he can because he's kind of dependent on him a little bit because he was the guy who gave him the money to fulfill Khalifa's dream to become who he is today, right? So that's kind of a very tricky situation, to be honest. I'm always trying to think about myself. If I would be in his shoes and I have my brother on the one side that I love and who was basically part of my success because he helped me with the money and building my empire, right? But then on the other hand, now finding out that he's dealing with drugs in my own company in the basement, trying to sell heroines to homeless people on the street, I was like, wow, how do you handle the situation, right? And of course, I mean, Khalifa is freaking out at some point and knows the only way to fix that solution here or to fix that problem right now is finding the solution, which is, of course, I have to tell him that this is not going on anymore. This is done. I'm done with that. I have to move on. But Ardan is a guy, and that's also one of my predictions already. I'm telling you that right now. He's not an easy guy to deal with, right? I mean, we know that already. Even if Khalifa is telling him and is trying to make him understand, hey, you're not going to do this anymore in my basement, in my company, because it goes down the hill. If you do that, I can feel it already. Ardan is not giving up, right? He's a street guy, obviously. Khalifa became more the business guy for me, coming from the streets, now the business guy, building his empire as a very famous rapper in Germany, and Ardan, still this kind of street guy who just knows how to deal with people on the street and making business and money out of it, right? So very interesting constellation. Please let me know what you think about that relationship, by the way. I'm really curious right now what you guys think. Just tell me your comments, German and English. I'm definitely going to answer you guys, because I think this is definitely evolving even more over time, right? And now talking about relationships, there was another relationship we already talked about. This is the one between Sarah and Khalifa. And I also had a feeling last episode already that Sarah and Khalifa, they're gonna have some, they're gonna have some love, obviously, right? So that was not really a surprise to me. But then the twist or the kind of turning point was very interesting to me, because Khalifa finds the paper of that treat in Sarah's jacket, because Sarah before, when she met her contact who gave her that treat too, right? So she basically already knew what's happening out in the streets. So she knew about these heroin drugs, like basically hidden or like looking like treats. So that was interesting, because now Khalifa knows exactly what Sarah is also after. I believe Khalifa loves her still, even that he has 2 daughters with a different woman. And also Sarah still has feelings for him, but she also has a job to fulfill, right? She has to find out what is happening right now. Is it just about the Albanians and the biker gangs, right? Or is there a next power in the streets of Frankfurt, which is obviously Ardan? So that's something that she's after right now. And when Khalifa saw that, she was like, okay, is she just using me here right now? Is she just trying to use me to be where she wants to be, to find out, to make her career even better, right? So very interesting. So I think we're going to have a lot of conflicts right now, and the kind of drug game that's going on right now is kind of getting all these different relationships closer together, which is very interesting to see. So I feel like we're going to have a lot more of this kind of coming together over the next episodes, right? And then at the end, coming from all these relationships, what we actually also realize is that the studio and the record label goes down the hill a little bit, right? We have all the drugs in the basement, and we also have the rappers sitting in the studio smoking weed, but they don't feel it anymore all of a sudden, right? And we have that one scene at the end. Semir comes in, and he's like, guys, come on, let's go to work. Let's make it happen. We have to have a new track coming up, right? And no one has any intention anymore. No one feels it anymore. And what is happening to Semir? He's freaking out. I mean, he's freaking out. He's going to his car. He's grabbing his gun, and he starts shooting around. And I was like, okay, now we basically having a big problem here right now, because that's something, remember, that's something Semir didn't want to have. Before, we have that one scene where the one manager of the record label comes in and says to Semir, we have to call the police to get these people out of the basement. We run a very serious and legal business, legit business here. We can't really have those people around us. But Semir said, no, don't call the police. Don't do anything. I don't want to have the record label go down the hill, right? But now Semir, I think, has his moment, his reaction, like this 1 second reaction, right? Where he's freaking out and starts shooting around and is killing people, basically. And I think he does exactly that now, what he didn't want to have. Because now, my prediction, obviously, is that the police is coming and everyone is in big trouble. Khalifa is in big trouble, even that he's not part of the drug game and stuff like that. He's still the brother. He owns the building. He owns the company, and was giving the space to his brother Ardan, who's the kind of head of all the stuff happening on the streets in Frankfurt right now. So, we see a lot of stuff is happening. A lot of stuff is going to happen in the future. I have a feeling. Let me know what you think about what's going to happen next. I'm really curious right now, because it's pretty open, right? The last episode we watched today was very, very open. So pretty much anything can happen now, right? We have all these relationships in place, and now it's, up to us and also the story writers, obviously, how we're going to continue. But let me know. That would be very interesting for me too. Thank you so much for watching your review of the 4th episode of the 1st season of Skylines on Netflix. weeks here at AfterBuzz TV in Los Angeles. And please also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Benjamin Schnau. Thank you so much for watching and see you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.